Now, people think turning your partner down for sex is no big deal. You're tired, you're stressed, you're not in the mood. Yeah, totally normal. And yes, you should always have the right to say no, of course. But what most people don't realize is this. It's not the rejection itself that damages the relationship. It's what that rejection starts to mean over time. Because when someone turns you down once, you think, yeah, bad timing. Totally get it. When it happens a few times, they think, maybe they're stressed, they've had a lot on their plate. Okay, fine, that's fair enough. But when it keeps happening, they start thinking it's actually something that might be wrong with them. And once that thought gets into someone's head, that's when attraction changes, confidence drops, distance grows. And in some relationships, this is the point when people start to look outside of their relationship. Not always because they want to cheat, but because they don't feel wanted anymore. So today we're talking about the real effects of turning your partner down for sex. How it affects men, how it affects women, why it changes the dynamics, and why this is one of the biggest silent problems in long-term relationships. Now, before we go any further, for those of you that don't know me, hi, my name is Chris Hodgson. I'm a former adult performer and professional companion. And on this channel, we talk about a lot of different topics, from sex, relationships, attraction, and the psychology behind what people don't always say out loud. And this is one of those topics people don't really like to talk about, because everybody wants the freedom to say no, but nobody wants to talk about what hearing no too often actually does to a person. And it does do something. Not always right away, but slowly and surely over time, it does something. Now, sexual rejection feels different than any other kind of rejection. Turning someone down for sex doesn't feel like turning them down for anything else. Now, if your partner says, I don't want to go out tonight. All right, fine. I'm tired. I don't want to talk. Okay, fair enough. But when someone reaches for you physically and then you pull away, that hits a lot deeper. Because sex isn't just sex. It's feeling desired, it's feeling attracted, it's feeling chosen. For a lot of men, rejection feels like, well, she just doesn't want me. And for women, rejection feels a lot like, well, he's just not attracted to me anymore. And once that thought starts, it's very, very hard to stop it. Now let's talk a bit about when the women turn the men down repeatedly. Because in society and relationships, a lot of the time, the man initiates more than the woman. Not always, but most of the time. So when a man keeps getting turned down, it really does start to mess with his head. At first, he'll laugh it off. Then he hesitates, then he stops trying. And when a man stops initiating, it's usually not because he doesn't want sex. It's because he doesn't want to feel rejected again. And this is where a lot of women sometimes don't realize actually what's happening. Men tie a lot of their confidence to feeling desired by their partner. Now, if he keeps getting shut down and shut down and shut down again, he starts thinking, well, she's not into me anymore. Does she find me attractive? Is she bored of me? She only does it when I have to. Maybe there's someone else. And when a man feels unwanted in his own home, that's when he becomes very vulnerable. Listen, not every man cheats, of course, but this is one of the biggest situations where it can happen. Not because he necessarily wants another woman, but he just wants to feel wanted again. There's a huge difference. Now let's talk about the flip side. When a man turns a woman down. Now people don't really talk about this one as much, but when a woman initiates and gets rejected, it can hit just as hard, if not sometimes harder, than when a man gets rejected. Because a lot of women already feel pressure about their body, their attractiveness, their weight, their age, their overall femininity. Now, if she reaches for you and you pull away, her brain doesn't just go, he's tired. It goes, he's not attracted to me anymore. A little dramatic, but you understand what I mean. And once that thought starts, it can spiral very, very fast. Am I not sexy anymore? Is he watching porn instead of me? Is he cheating? Does he want someone younger? Did I change? And again, after enough rejection, she may stop initiating completely. Not because she doesn't want sex, that's why she's initiating, but because she doesn't want to feel undesirable. And once a woman stops feeling sexy in the relationship, the energy changes, and it changes a lot. And this, again, opens up the doors for her looking for someone else outside of the relationship. Now, there's a big difference between a relationship where neither person tries and a relationship where one person keeps trying and the other just keeps getting shut down. The second one hurts much, much more because the person trying is putting themselves out there every time. And every time they get rejected, it chips away a little bit and a little bit more and a little bit more. It chips away at your confidence, at your attraction, at closeness. And this is one of the leading causes of distance in relationships. Not fighting, not cheating, not money, but feeling unwanted. But remember that feeling unwanted can lead to those other things. And when someone feels unwanted long enough, they start disconnecting. Or again, they start looking for that feeling somewhere else. Not always sexually, sometimes emotionally, sometimes mentally, and obviously sometimes physically. But it starts with the same thing. I don't feel wanted in my own home. I don't feel desired by my own partner. Now, there's also times, which I'm sure you've experienced, is where sometimes you don't want it, and then you start and you're like, okay, I'm kind of into this. Now, this is something I feel a lot of people relate to. Sometimes you turn your partner down because you're tired, stressed, busy, not in the mood. Okay, I get it, totally normal. But think about this honestly. How many times have you said no, and then on the nights where you actually do it, you've enjoyed it, you relaxed, you felt closer, you felt less stressed, you thought, we should do this more often. For a lot of people, the hardest part isn't sex. The hardest part is the initiation. Once you get going, you remembered why you like it. You feel connected again. You feel calmer, you feel closer. And this is why sometimes the question isn't, do I feel like it right now? It's, do I usually feel better afterwards? That's the real question you need to ask yourselves. Because sometimes all it boils down to is just an initiation problem. Now ask yourself this too. Why are you turning them down? Now this part really matters because not all rejection is the same. You have to think about this if you're the one that's turning your partner down and you're watching this, okay? Are you tired? Are you stressed? Do you have a low sex drive? Hormones? Resentment? Pushing them? Are you genuinely not attracted to them? Comfortable but not excited? Just avoiding intimacy because all of these create different outcomes. If you're turning your partner down because life is busy, you know that can be fixed. If you're turning them down because you don't feel connected, now that's a relationship issue. Now, if you're turning them down simply because you don't want them anymore, all right, then that's the bigger problem. And pretending it doesn't matter doesn't just simply make it go away. It just makes the distance grow more quietly. Now, long-term relationships break here more than anywhere. Most relationships, again, don't really end because of one big moment. Obviously, some do, but typically they fade, less sex, less touch, less flirting, less playfulness, less desire. As I've talked about before, more like roommates. And once a couple feels like roommates, it's very hard to get that spark back. Not impossible, but hard. Because desire needs tension. It needs feeling wanted. It needs feeling chosen, and repeated constant rejection slowly kills all of those feelings, even if both people genuinely still love each other. Now, here's my final thought on this, okay? You always have the right to say no. Always. But saying no over and over and over does have its consequences. Not because your partner is weak, but simply because they're human, like we all are. Everyone wants to feel desired. Everyone wants to feel attractive. Everyone wants to feel like their partner actually wants them. Not just loves them, but wants them. And in a lot of relationships, the difference between feeling close and feeling distance comes down to something very simple. How often one person reaches and how often the other simply pulls away. You see, sometimes you have the power to fix things, and sometimes you simply don't. And if you're turning your partner down just because you're simply being lazy, that is perfectly fine. but think about the consequences. And if you are having issues in your relationship, think about, if I take a little initiative and a little step to put in a little bit more effort with initiation, you'll be surprised how much that can really change things. For now, that's all I got. I'm Chris Hodgson. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.